TheBradRules.
How's it going, guys? So today we're going to talk about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2012 series and how it's pretty scary and disturbing. And there's a lot of moments in this show where you got to take a step back and you're like, this is a Nickelodeon show. And, you know, there's always been creepy and disturbing things that you could find on Nickelodeon shows, especially when it comes to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You know, I usually wouldn't say that anything was really creepy or disturbing too much on the 1987 series. Some moments, but I wouldn't really say like a whole lot. There probably could be maybe like a top 10 list that I could make in the future. But the 2012 series definitely outdoes it without a doubt. There's many times on this show where you're just taken aback by the disturbing nature of things. And the one thing that this show does first and foremost, I mean, when you start watching it in season 1, is you're introduced to just how disturbing mutations could be. You know, we don't really like give it a lot of thought too much. Like, I don't know, when Shredder mutates Bebop and Rocksteady in the 1987 show, you know, I'm kind of like, oh, you know, that's cool, but I'm not really disturbed by it. I mean, you know, these guys are being mutated into animals. I mean, I guess you could say, yeah, it's a little bit unsettling, but you're not really going to be like, oh my god, or have trouble sleeping at night from that. But in the 2012 show, we literally see the mutagen being poured on top of people. Like, for example, you've got Vic, who turns into spider bites. You've got the tragic fate of Timothy, who is the pulverizer, and he becomes Mutagen Man. And, you know, the way they show these characters transforming into these abominations, it's like you're taken aback by it, and you're like, whoa, especially with Timothy. I mean, you see he just becomes basically a blob of organs. And he initially wants the mutation. He desires it. He says to Turtles, you know, he's going to become something awesome. He wants to be like the Turtles, but failing to realize that you're not going to get to determine what you become half the time. So he becomes this freakish, you know, just pile of his own organs, and it's really just a frightening thing. And he has to live out his days in a jar until he becomes Mutagen Man for a single episode, and then he is quickly forgotten about after that, you know, and he just becomes a set piece in Donatello's lab, and that's basically about it.
And of course, there's the Pizza Face episode. And this is just an awesome episode overall when it comes to the horror theme, as evil pizzas are delivered across the city and they end up zombifying many of the recipients. And all of the Ninja Turtles except for Mikey end up getting zombified. And Pizza Face, he looks like his original concept name, which was Pizza the Hut. He's just a big blob of pizza. He's a former pizza chef. Pizza Face was an action figure that never made it into any of the previous Ninja Turtle cartoons. So it was really great to finally get to see this guy in action in one form or another. And this guy is pretty unsettling looking. He's really a very fucked up villain. This guy actually zombifies his victims and then has his minions prepare them as calzones and then proceeds to eat them. And the scene where April is getting prepared is pretty chilling, especially with the Italian style music playing. There's just something about it, you know, when something's kind of funny and silly, it makes it even more unsettling at times. You know what I'm talking about. They've had many things like that in many horror films that are just very, you know, hard to watch, kind of. Like, I'm like, ooh, this is like for a kid's show. I mean, man, this must have scared some kids without a doubt. And it was really nice to see Pizza Face realized in an actual Ninja Turtles cartoon. And the thing is about this is that the Ninja Turtles love pizza. So what if the pizza actually turned on the Ninja Turtles and the pizza in Pizza Face actually tries to eat them?
Another moment in season 2 is the Squirrel Noise episode where these fucking squirrels just crawl into people's mouths and then they reproduce. And I think that this is just wow, like for a kid's cartoon, this like really pushes the limits. I mean, pretty frightening to be like entering in to a human being, you know, or one of the turtles and just going in their mouth and just like settling inside the person and then, you know, throwing them up. And then you've got two squirrels that eventually become these xenomorph like creatures. And this is obviously a nod to the pizza monsters from the 1987 series, and basically gets them in there without having to do the, you know, hatching from the meatballs on top of the pizza. So they, you know, actually turn a squirrel into a mutant and kind of did their own thing here. And yeah, just the whole thing about them going into people's mouths, it just like seems like it pushes a boundary on a kids show, and, you know, shows that there's some mature themes to be had in the 2012 series, which I greatly appreciate. So yeah, there's another one. As this show goes on, we really do see more and more disturbing things, and I don't think that there's ever a better example of that than in season 3, where they purposely put the horror on display first and foremost, because we're at the O'Neill's farmhouse and creepy stuff is happening basically in almost every episode. And we've got the episode with the creep, who's basically supposed to be this series' Jason Voorhees. And we even have a very Friday the 13th-esque musical cue playing, and I absolutely love that. But we're not done there, because we've also got the Dream Beavers, which is basically a nod to Nightmare on Elm Street. And we even got Robert Englund doing voiceovers. And not only that, but we've got John Kasser, who is the voice of the Crypt Keeper on Tales from the Crypt, which I think is awesome. So we've got those guys teaming up to be the voiceovers for the Dream Beavers. And, you know, this is actually a really creepy episode, as the turtles are trapped in a dream world. They can't escape their own dreams, very much like Nightmare on Elm Street. And the beavers are feasting off of their dreams, draining their life force. And, you know, I think this is an excellent creepy episode. And then we've got this nut job who basically hasn't slept a wink in like 30 years. And he has this book which is keeping the beavers in the dream world. And he is chasing Casey Jones with a fucking chainsaw. That part itself is unsettling. Like, a fucking chainsaw, like, that is just nuts to me. Like, that is some pretty hardcore shit there. Like, he's ready to chop this guy apart, and he's only a fucking teenager over a goddamn book. So that was, you know, that's a creepy thing in itself. Then we've also got the Speed Demon, which is a nod to Christine, about a evil possessed car. And this is just frightening, especially when the car devours Donnie and he becomes one with the car and he becomes this gigantic freak sticking out of the top of the car. it's like, holy shit, like that is some nightmare fuel. So that in itself, it's like, wow. I mean, I was watching this episode, I'm like, damn, there's some visual terror here. And then we've got Mom Thing, which is Miss O'Neill, except she's not really Miss O'Neill. And this is just a frightening ode to the movie The Thing, where it's basically a shapeshifter. So yeah, this creature is actually pretty fucking creepy to look at. So yeah, there's some for you right there. You know, it definitely is a really creepy show most of the time. You know, this isn't every single moment, but these are the ones that I basically could think of for some of the more creepy moments. But, you know, there's others, and they're probably in, you know, smaller supply in other episodes. There may be moments, but these are pretty much like episodes where it's pretty fucking creepy, and it's pretty much intended to be. There might be some more, like, undercover ones where they kind of slide in some horror elements. But yeah, you can definitely tell that the creators of this show definitely love horror. And of course, yeah, with season 3, it's pretty much in your face, like horror, you know, odes to different horror properties. And I think that is really cool they threw that in there, especially since in the 1987 series, not so much in this show, because they're usually watching different things on TV, like old cartoons and such. But the Turtles were always watching like old horror movies or sci-fi, you know, flicks. Like they were always into that stuff. So it's pretty cool to see the horror element being brought to the forefront here in the 2012 series. So yeah, I for one was someone that really slept on the 2012 series for a long time. I wasn't really too crazy about the Turtles designs, but now, you know, I've warmed up to them over the years. And, you know, if you haven't seen the 2012 series, I greatly recommend it. And I plan on doing a video in the future just about the 2012 series in general and how more people should probably give it a chance. You know, you hear everybody talking about, besides the 1987 series, the 2003 series. And like, oh, like, you know, nothing can touch it is the greatest. Well, you know, if you're like me and you're a 1987 Turtles fan, I'm pretty sure you're going to enjoy quite a bit of what the 2012 series has to offer. Even if you're a 2003 fan, you still may find some stuff to love in the 2012 series. So guys, let me know what you think down in the comments. Let me know what are some creepy moments from the 2012 series that you enjoyed that maybe I missed here, or, you know, the ones that I did mention here. You know, which one is your favorite? I'd love to know. So let's talk about it down in the comments, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bells to get all the notifications when I post on my new videos. I want to thank all my subscribers for your continued support. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.